President Trump has clean hands. He's not worried about it. I talk to him all the time. He has nothing to do with this. He's frustrated that they're turning it into a political issue, and it's not surprising because the Democrats have nothing else to talk about. What have they accomplished in 10 months? Epstein is their entire game plan. So we're going to take that weapon out of their hand this week.
Speaker Johnson over the weekend accusing Democrats of weaponizing the push to release the Epstein files as the House prepares to vote on a bill that would force their release. President Trump announcing this afternoon that he would, in fact, sign the bill if it gets to his desk. Joining me now, Republican Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas, who sits on the House Oversight Committee. Congressman, it's wonderful to see you. Thank you so much for making some time to be with us. How do you explain the president's abrupt reversal? He was lobbying Lauren Boebert and others to not vote for this bill, to take their names off the discharge petition. Now he says, put it out there, although he adds, don't talk about it.
Well, I think it's not an unsurprising change. As you may know, because I've said it on CNN a number of times, my wife and other friends of mine, including my staff members and what I would call my MAGA supporters, are openly and have been as long as President Trump was, when he was candidate Trump. This has been an issue that they deeply believed in, and I completely agree with them. The question became about the tactics, and once the committee had their hands, or beginning to get their hands on it, we tried to make it a bipartisan issue. By making it a bipartisan issue, we can answer huge questions that probably people who will just get this document now will go through to global search it for the name Donald Trump. But we need to ask a lot of questions. Remember, this goes back to 2006, and we need to know who had the information, whether it was correct or not of what they've done with the tapes, who had the documents as late as a year ago. Where were the frailties in the system of effectively handling this? And we have seen this in our past. We saw this with the Michigan physician, with the girls' gymnastics team. We've seen where there are mistakes in our system that dealt with women, and it is an incredibly important thing that we get to the bottom of this and answer the big questions. And that is what I have promised.
So you're a yes,
Blitzer
then.
I would do. And I said, I'm going to get to the bottom of this and be able to answer big questions. We're not there yet.
You're not there yet? So you're not committing yet to voting yes on this bill?
No, there's no reason why I wouldn't vote for this. The president's already said that he knows over 100 Republicans. Why wouldn't I be one of those 100 Republicans?
Okay, so you do plan to vote on it. It sounds like the House Speaker wants the Senate to make some changes to it. Do you think that the Speaker should support it as it is in the House?
Well, we're going to vote on this. I don't know what the Speaker has said. We'll come into a conference tomorrow, and we will be able to hear from the Speaker. I've not touched this matter except to be in part of the investigation on the data that we have. So I would just say to you, the American people and my biggest supporters, including my wife, who I think is a supporter, I've told them we're going to get to the bottom of this.
All right, fair enough. One person who has been pressuring the president to make the move that he did to support releasing these files is Marjorie Taylor Greene, who, of course, was a longtime supporter of his. But over this issue, the president is now calling her a traitor. Do you think she's a traitor?
You know, I'm not privy, and I'm just going to tell you straight up, I don't know their conversations. If he said things to her and got her to use that relationship in a way that he did not like, then maybe he thought she was a traitor. But I don't think Marjorie Taylor Greene is a traitor to America nor the truth. But maybe there were things that he said to her that happens in conversations, and that may be privately where that was. But I think that the American people deserve this answer, and I certainly know these women that were involved deserve more than just an answer. Why did this happen, and how can we avoid it in the future? And that's what I promise I'm a part of.
Are you committed to releasing any additional documents that the committee comes into possession of, regardless of who may be named in those documents?
You know, that's a very sensitive issue. There are laws that govern the release to a committee. There are agreements of this. And I don't think it does any of us any good if we cannot answer every question that someone asks us. And I don't think that it needs to be a release that breaks the law. You know, this is one of the sensitive parts that's taken place with when the Democrats were in the majority, the release of intelligence information.
Right, but in this case,
So, no, I'm not going to agree to do that.
From the Jeffrey Epstein estate, right, are these emails that we've most recently seen from the House Oversight Committee. Should those emails at least be public if you receive more?
I think that we need to work together. My friends on the committee that are Democrats, I think, want to work together. There will always be people who want to spill the beans. I don't think that does us any good, but I think if we speak about it and come to an agreement, then we can release them, yes.
All right, so briefly before I let you go, a fellow Texan, Ted Cruz, the senator, we played what the president had to say. I want to show you what he said. He was asked this morning about a report that he's considering running for president in 2028. Let's watch.
You know, reporters are going to write headlines that get clicks and get eyeballs. I got a job. It's representing 31 million Texans, and it's fighting every day for 31 million Texans.
Didn't seem to be a no. Do you want to see your home state senator run for president again?
Well, I think it's always an important question. Would I love to see Ted Cruz as being our presidential nominee for the Republican Party? Yes, I would. Are there some circumstances surround these things? For instance, that maybe someone else is vice president now. Would that mean a run against that person? Yes. Would that mean that Donald Trump would get engaged in that? Yes, probably. So I think Ted Cruz is being very wise. If I were he, I would go if I were interested and make this a beauty contest and go out and test the waters and see where that is. And I think Ted has always, since the day I met him, indicated he'd like to run for president.
I appreciate both your candor and discretion, sir. And very briefly, are you ready to endorse John Cornyn for Senate in the Texas primary?
I have, and
You
I
have.
am, and I think Senator
All right.
Cornyn does a great job.
All right. Congressman Pete Sessions, thank you. I really appreciate your time today. Hope to see you soon.
You bet.